Hello to few people who watch these videos. I lost licensing for For Honor and PlayStation Plus on the same day, so I'm going to make some really low effort content today where I'm going to talk about who is the worst character in For Honor now, because Centurion has risen above and beyond into the pantheon of the second Diet Warden character. So let's get started. Starting off the Night faction, we have Peacekeeper. All of her follow-up lights are 400 milliseconds. She has a pretty decent guard break punish. I can't really load up For Honor, so I can't say exactly how much it was, but I think it was around 38 damage. You can also do the heavy for an execution, but it does less damage. She has enhanced lights whenever opponents are bleeding, which is nice. Can make it so you can go into your 400 millisecond light. Her main cons is that she has insanely low damage, and she has extremely bad target swap whenever she's being ganked, which makes it so she's not very good at being ganked, and her anti-gank also isn't amazing because she doesn't have any unblockables or undodgeables. Next up is Highlander, who I don't have a picture for. His main pros are that he's got the 40 damage unblockables, and that also the 50-50, where you just do a bash into another bash that you have to roll out of, and if your opponent decides that they want to walk near you whenever they have less than half stamina, then they're probably going to run out of stamina. So his main cons are that it's really easy to hit him out of offensive stance, which is where he can do the 50-50. It's more matchup dependent, because if you're playing against characters like Peacekeeper or Nusha that have like no range and really no way to get to you, then it's a lot easier to kill them than it is to kill characters, say like Nobushi or like Valkyrie, who have a lot more range. Orochi's the next character. He has faster lights than most characters. The top one's 466, I think, and the sides are 500 on each side for starting, which is kind of normal. But then his combo lights, you can delay them to make them pretty fast. He's got a pretty good zone, like a lot of samurai characters have. It's 500 milliseconds, but the animation makes it look a lot faster, so it's pretty much unreactable. He can extend his dodge with his dodge attack. He also has slip through, which makes it so he does more damage from his deflect. Instead of doing 35, it does, I don't remember exactly how much, it's probably like 40 something. And the heavy deflect does a lot more, but the heavy deflect is a little useless. He also has his back dodge heavy, which is pretty much a 50-50. His cons are that he has bad dodge attacks because they're slow, they're lights, and they're undodgeable, so they're really easy to deflect or parry. He has no unblockables, so that's pretty bad. You can't really punish people very much. He can use dodge cancels at the end of chains, which is nice. Next up is Nobushi. Her main pros is that she has a lot of range, so that's a bit better than some other characters. Viper's Retreat, the animation's really bad and it's pretty fast. You can use it to end chains. You can use it as, well, it's her heavy parry punish. It does a decent amount of damage, also bleeds them, which makes it so she does more damage. And whenever someone's bled, you can chip someone to death. You can also use it to dodge cancel, but her dodge attacks are pretty slow, which is one of her cons. She has a hidden stance into dodge. Hidden stance doesn't have any, it has a guard break vulnerability now, so that sucks, but characters, if you're fighting a Shigoki, in order to get rid of pretty much any pressure from their 50-50, unless they feint into guard break instead of Demon's Embrace, you can just hidden stance into dodge, which works. Her main con is that she's very slow. All of her lights are 500, and her heavies are, I don't remember exactly, it's probably like 700 milliseconds, or 800, around there. The kick's slow, which is her only bash, so that kind of sucks. And like I said, she has slow dodge attacks. The light dodge attack is slow, and the heavy one, it can be used just because it has zone properties, so if someone tries to like all guard it and they don't get anything, that's like... Next up is the entire Wulin faction, starting with Tiandi, which I don't have a picture for. His main pro is that he has a bash, and that he can extend his dodge for wardens. It's not really 50-50, but I'm going to call it that because why not? If you do a buffered dodge heavy into a delayed dodge light, you can pretty much get rid of all of mix-up potential there. And that's pretty much it. His follow-up lights are 400, so he's kind of like PK in that regard. He has Vanguard health, so that's good. Some of his cons are that his crushing counter is pretty useless. It guarantees the bash afterwards, but it's pretty hard to land. And also that his damage just isn't very good. He doesn't have any unblockables, except for, I guess, the bash. And the dodge heavies aren't extremely useful. Next up is Jhin. Main pros is that he has all unblockable finishers, which isn't entirely useful, but I guess it's a good thing. His zone is undodgeable, and it's pretty fast, so that's also good. His lights are a decent speed, and you can use the heavy as a 50-50. The unblockable heavy is a 50-50. Main cons is that he has the worst deflect in the game. It doesn't guarantee any damage, along with the unblockable lights doing 18 damage and also being like 600 milliseconds, I think. So they're pretty useless, and if someone just has a faster option select, then they can just negate all of your mix-ups. His dodge attacks are all 400 milliseconds though, so that's definitely a very good thing, but people can just dodge, and then if they have a dodge attack, just hit you with it. Next up we have Shaolin. His main pros are that his attacks are very fast. The top one's 400 milliseconds and side's 500, which is about as fast as lights get. That's tied with Lawbringers. And key stance is pretty nice. Really, the only two things you can really do from it are either the undodgeable or the kick. The kick guarantees 20 damage. I don't remember how much the undodgeable does, but I remember it's a lot. His main cons is that he has the second worst deflect in the game. It does 25 damage, and it sets you up to be hit by pretty much any follow-up because it has hyper armor. Unless the follow-up is a full second, like Raider's top heavy follow-up, then you can get a crushing counter from it if you're fast, which is definitely fun to pull off, but it's pretty much never going to happen. You can get an execution from the deflect, but it only does 25 damage. His feats aren't very good, which sucks, and also his damage is just atrocious. His top light does 12 damage, and his side lights do 7 each, which you can get a guaranteed 3 from each, but usually you do 2 into your key stance mix-up, so it's 14. Next up is JJ. His main pro is that all of his lights do 18 damage, and that you can delay them by a very long amount to make them pretty much unreactable. At least the follow-up one, you can't really delay standing lights. He also has a dodge attack that you can do like a 50-50 from, or just feint it into guard break to get damage from there. He's also good at anti-ganking, and he has an unblockable that can be good for ganking people. Along with his parry riposte can also be very good at ganking people, because if you parry someone who's in revenge, they pretty much instantly get put out of it because of how long the parry riposte actually takes. His cons are that he just is very slow, and the only thing he can really do, I guess, is his zone. So that's pretty much just his main con. Next up we have Nusha. Her main thing is that she has traps, which are pretty nice. They start 400 milliseconds into her heavies, which her heavies are 800 milliseconds. The only problem with them is that you can just emote out of them or just switch your guard. You can't get a guard break from them now, which is nice. You can throw the 400 millisecond light afterwards, so you can use them to extend your chain, which is good. That's pretty much her only good... Actually, no, she has slip through. Forgot about that. Makes her deflect do 58 damage. But that's pretty much it for her pros. Her cons, her deflect can be blocked. So there's like a 33% chance that your deflect is going to be blocked. Along with her damage not being good, except from the traps. She has like negative range, it feels sometimes, so if any character has a little bit more range than you, you have to turtle the entire time, which you don't really have very good parry punishes. You can get 30 from a light parry, and then you can get, I don't remember how much it is for the riposte. Ooh, surprise, surprise, new challengers appeared, because I saw a lot of people complaining about this character on Reddit and saying that he's the worst character in the game. I'm just going to have to include him, just because a lot of people are complaining that he was the worst. I personally don't think he is, and he's not going to be the person that I pick for the worst, but Shinobi, His main pros is that everything he does has a shit ton of damage except for his zone, which does 15. Which the zone's 500. Since he's a samurai character, it seems like it's unreactable because the animation's bad. But he has 24 damage lights and 40 damage heavies, along with having the second best deflect in the game, does 50 damage, and also having slip through, which I'm not sure how it stacks with that, but I'm guessing it's going to make it do more than the best deflect in the game. And slip through also stacking with his chain finisher heavy that you can do after you do a ranged heavy, roll up. It pretty much one-shots people. If you have even one teammate by, you can just instantly kill someone with it. His cons, pretty much that his attacks are average speed, which isn't really a huge thing. You can't spam the kick anymore because they remove the super armor on it. Like, you can still use to punish and stuff, so he's still a good character. I don't know why people keep complaining about him. Yeah, my opinions about the character just comes from my experience from playing him, along with seeing people play him. So if you disagree with him, I'm fine with that. You can just leave, like, disagreements in the comments. After talking about all the cons with the characters, well, all the worst characters, my personal pick for the worst character is going to be Nusha. Orochi is definitely a very close second, but I just think Nusha's feats are just a lot worse. Orochi has Kai and Kunai. You can also use revenge attacks, but Kunai can hit people off stuff along with guaranteeing like your zone or a top light. They both have slip through, and Orochi has fear itself. Nusha doesn't really have a good fourth feat. She has infection, which they buffed recently, but it still really doesn't do anything except kills minions, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much everything with it. My main reason for picking her is just her range is just atrocious, which you wouldn't think it'd be too bad, but just if anyone backwalks, you're pretty much just dead. You have to turtle. It doesn't really have to be like the other person has to have more range than you. It's just most of your attacks will just whiff if you don't like constantly walk forward. Another big reason is that you can't option select with her or extend your dodge, so your defense is extremely limited, which really sucks because pretty much the only reason why certain characters aren't considered to be like higher tier is just because they can't option select, because option selecting is very important because most characters have unblockables that they can use for 50-50s. Her dodge attack counts as a light, which makes it so you can parry it, get a light parry punish, which is really bad. It is the same input as her deflect, but if you're fighting a static guard hero, you have to change your guard. So if you do it on accident against a static guard hero and they don't throw a follow-up afterwards, then they're gonna block it anyway. All of Nusha's follow-up lights are 400 milliseconds, which is nice, except they do like no damage, so unless someone's already almost dead, you're not really gonna be able to kill people with it. Her heavies go from 30 damage to 35 to 40, and her chain finisher heavy, it throws people, so if you're in revenge or if your opponent's out of stamina, then you can get out of stamina punish, but they're not very good for Nusha anyway. It's just a light and a heavy, or a heavy and a light, either one. But yeah, mainly the reason I'm picking Nusha is just because she doesn't have an option select and range. That's mainly the reason. Orochi at least has an option select and can extend his dodge, making it so he has a lot more defensive options than Nusha does. And he also has a lot more range, especially with just his standing lights and the zone. And having the Storm Rush is nice because it's an unreactable option that he can kind of just do out of neutral. So, that's nice. Anyway, those are just my opinions, and I hope you enjoyed the video.